Thank you for listening to the Spectrum Lounge. If you enjoy this podcast, please support us at patreon.com/FilmFatale_NYC and be sure to subscribe to the Spectrum Lounge. You can find us on SoundCloud, Apple, Spotify, and Google Play. Welcome to the Spectrum Lounge podcast, where we discuss creatives of color disrupting the game in TV, film, and pop culture. I am your host, Rebecca Theodore-Vachon, and on this episode, we speak with actors Justina Machado and Rhenzy Feliz, stars of the Netflix original film All Together Now, which premieres Friday, August 28th. Take a listen. Hi, Justina!
Hi, Rebecca. I haven't seen you since New York City, girl.
I know. I'm sorry that my camera's on mute. It's a bad hair day.
I was like, that's all right, girl. That's all right. It's all good. I'm like, you're not recording this, so I don't care. I don't care what I look like right now.
Oh my gosh. I'm so happy to talk to you. Yeah, I was just thinking, I was telling my friend, I was like, yeah, I met Justina a few years ago, just when One Day at a Time was about to go on. I think we were on a panel for Entertainment Weekly.
We absolutely were. We were. And we were talking about the movies. It was the year that La La Land, remember? Because that was a big controversy. La La Land, Moonlight, all of that. I do remember.
All right. So how have you been holding up during this quarantine?
Oh my God. It I feel like I got to the point where now I'm used to it. I remember that the day that it happened, we were actually doing the talk. The whole cast was doing the talk, and it was like March 12th or 13th. And literally the day after that, everything just kind of stopped. And of course, it was really difficult in the beginning. And I remember going, there's no way I can't do more than 3 months of this. And now
right.
6 months later, my brother and I, we took a road trip to Chicago, which is where I'm from. And we drove 30 hours and then 30 hours back. So that was a good thing to be with family. We stayed in Chicago for a month.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I think staying with family definitely helps like your mental state. That is so true. So let's talk about All Together Now. I actually saw the movie and I have to say that I love it. I came into it thinking that it was just going to be like this cute, bubbly teen movie. And it was like, oh no, they're talking about like really serious topics here. Homelessness, alcoholism, dysfunctional relationships with your parents. So how did this role come to you?
Basically was my agent called me and said, hey, it's an audition. And nobody was looking for me. They weren't like, we want Justina Machado. It was just kind of a good thing that my agent sent it to me and they said, read this. And I just loved it. I loved her. And, because I've been doing One Day at a Time for 4 seasons, it was nice to get in there and stretch my drama chops and tell a story like that. Like you just said, that has so much real life happening in it. And One Day at a Time does a beautiful job with that. But it was nice to do it in not a 22-minute platform. And, to be able to tell this beautiful story of community, of survival, of love, of asking for help, of accepting help, of persevering, all of that. And then, of course, working with that brilliant young woman, Ali. It was just fantastic.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about your character and what the movie is about?
Well, the movie is about this young woman who finds herself in a very real life situation where she's homeless and her mom has problems. Her mom has alcohol problems. Her mother's a young widow. They love each other dearly, but they have all of these things. She's kind of living in shame and embarrassment, and she's not really asking for help or letting anybody know what's going on. She really knows how to give love, give help. It's difficult for her to accept it. And it's a story about how community rallies behind you and how people have each other's back, especially in a time like this. It's a beautiful thing to see that, you have your tribe, you have your community, you have the family you were born into and the family that you make. And so this young woman is surrounded by love, even though she's in a very tumultuous and her life is full of turmoil. She really is surrounded with a lot of love and support. And, that's the movie. And then my character is a woman who's just, life has been tough for her and a lot of life has happened to her and she's lost and she has a lot of problems, and she doesn't know how to get out of those problems, and she has no one to turn to, and or she doesn't want to, because she doesn't think that anybody could help her. That happens a lot, when somebody has that has a substance abuse problem. They just don't see any way out of it. They don't see how somebody could possibly help them when it's that deep and that bad. And she still has deep love for her daughter, but she's just a very flawed person.
Right. And I think one of the things that I really loved about how they wrote your character is that there was a lot of humanity in there. It could have easily been like this very evil, substance abuse mother, but I think because of your performance and the way that it's written, especially watching that movie, I feel like this movie is so timely right now. Like, you guys kind of picked a perfect time, because so many people are in Becky's place right now, with a substance abuse problem or not.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Finish, Rebecca.
Well, I just wanted to ask, like, for you, just entering that character, creating the role of Becky, did you ever feel, or did you ever refer to any times in your life where you kind of felt hopeless that way, or grieving, or just really sad?
Oh, you all three of them.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking to an actress,
right?
A Latinx actress, a woman of color. I mean, I can go down the line. So yes, many times I have felt hopeless. Yes, many times deep sadness and deep grief. Absolutely. I feel deeply, whether it's a deep happiness or deep sadness. But the one thing, and I think this movie has that, is that I've always been able to, because of my community or because of how I am, to be able to get myself out of these feelings, to understand that there could be, if I need help, I ask for help. If I need to talk to somebody, I call somebody. If I have to cry, I cry. All of those things that I used to do by myself, because Judy and I were talking about this earlier in our interviews. Like, when you grow up Latina, so many times they don't want you can't tell anybody anything. Everything has to stay in the family. They don't even understand if you talk to a teacher about something or anything, it's a big deal, like keeping it in the family. So to being able to break out of that has been very amazing for me, because those feelings are really difficult when you're feeling them by yourself.
Mm-hmm. I'm so happy that you spoke to Judy Reyes, and I know she plays a character on One Day at a Time, which is more comedic. So what was it like to work with her, to kind of reunite with her in playing such a more dramatic role?
Well, when we work together, and we've worked together many times, Judy and I, oh yeah, girl, I did Devious Maids with her. I played her on Devious Maids.
Yes.
And some other stuff that we did. I don't know what we've done, some other stuff. But Judy, when we work, we just work. We, like on One Day at a Time, we have a good time because it's funny. We crack jokes, whatever. But when we were doing this, we were very serious about what we had to do. And then when it was over, we, went to the bar and had a good time. That's how we roll. It's like we're going to work hard, and then we're going to go have fun afterwards. So we're good partners because we have the same kind of work ethic.
Right. And the scenes that the two of you had together, I was like, yes, they are acting. And I'm like, because we've had these conversations, because these are the kind of roles that, Latina actresses are looking for, that are not, necessarily stereotypical, right? I mean, just the fact, I was just talking to Rhenzy Feliz, and I was like, how great that you have a show that this movie has 3 Latino leads. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
and
that's
2
amazing.
Afro-Latinos, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, and also the fact that none of that gets mentioned. I love it.
At all.
We're not talking about ethnicity. We're talking about humanity. So it's like that. Brett did such an incredible job in making it look like what we look like. So it was incredible. And yes, how incredible for Rhenzy that, for all of us to not have to be, that I didn't have to be, Maria Gonzalez. And which I don't have a problem with that, but come on, you get a little tired.
Right. Well, I think that's one of the things that I've loved about you and Judy. I kind of see you guys as sort of like these OGs, for Latina actresses, where it's like, yes, we can play a role that, that speak to our ethnic identity, but also we can play all sorts of roles. You know what I mean? That, Yeah, yeah. So we know Carol Burnett is in this movie. Did you get to meet her?
No, girl, I did not. And let me tell you, that was so sad for me because I mean, it was sad for Judy too. Judy's still so
Yeah.
sore about it. But no, I was really, and I knew that I wouldn't be able to because I
Yeah.
knew that we didn't have any scenes together. And you know what it's like when you work on a movie, you're there
Mhm.
for the time that you're there, and then other people come in and they do it that way. So no, I did not get to, but I am thrilled to see her.
Mm.
And I am thrilled to see a movie where my name and her name are in the same place.
Right, right. And it's kind of cool. Like, I mean, One Day at a Time was on Netflix for 3 seasons, and it's kind of like you've done a come back home. What's it like to be back on Netflix?
Netflix is great. You know, I've always,
Yeah.
you know, whatever happened between us and Netflix, I don't take it personal. I don't take it
Right.
personal because had it not been for Netflix, I honestly don't think One Day at a Time would have ever gotten any air. They just would have been
Mhm.
like, what? No, Latinx? Oh, what? LGBTQ? No, I think that some networks would have been scared. Maybe not now, but we're talking about,
Right.
we know how much has changed just in 6 months, just in 4 years.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
I don't think anybody would have been brave enough to put us on. So I'm always so grateful to Netflix uh, for giving us that opportunity. And, you know, Netflix has great content.
Right. So, I mean, fourth season of One Day at a Time, you guys are at Pop TV. I actually got a subscription to watch it because I was like,
Oh,
okay, I keep going to Netflix. I'm like, it's not on Netflix anymore. So I went to Pop TV and I was able to binge the 7 episodes. And I was so happy to see that the content has not changed. It's seamless. Like you're moved from Netflix, you're still talking about the same topics. How has it been for you being on Pop TV?
fantastic. They were so you know, we had to stop because of the virus, and we stopped after 6 episodes, and then we did that animation episode from everyone's home.
Yes.
But
Mm-hmm.
the Pop TV was so enthusiastic with us. As soon as they acquired the show, it was just love, love, love. What do you need? What do you need? So much support. So it's been incredible to be somewhere, you know, like Pop, where they're so happy to have us, and we're so happy to be there.
Right. And the thing I love about One Day at a Time is like no matter I always feel like no matter where I am in my life, there's always with every season I love every episode, but there are like specific episodes that kind of speak to me like the first episode where Penelope is missing her ex and she's like, well, yeah, I'm a strong independent woman, I'm a feminist, that doesn't mean that I don't want a man, you know what I mean? And I was just like, that's a serious conversation that a lot of my single women friends have, is like, does it make us less feminine less feminist to want a boyfriend and to have a partner? I
Yeah,
don't think
no,
so.
it doesn't. Not at all. Because we can be feminists, but we're still human beings and we're still animals and we still have pride. You know, come on. It's like we're still
Right.
people that, I mean, isn't life about love? And I really, the older I get, I just really realize that. And you want to share your life with somebody, you know, whoever that somebody
Mhm.
is. You want to share your life, you want to share your accomplishments and, you know, your sadness and all of that thing. And that doesn't make you less of a feminist or less strong or any of those things.
Right. And especially the episode 7, which was the animated one.
Yeah.
I love that episode. Well, number one, the animation, because you were able to do things that you couldn't do in a live action show, especially with Rita Moreno's character. I thought that was funny when she kept drinking. I just thought that was hilarious.
She's so funny.
But I really love that episode because I mean, in the, somebody else who may not have known how to write this episode could have failed, where it could have been like, it was really just talking about, we have the far left and the far right and the current election. I think the way that you guys did it so beautifully, it's about trying to find the humanity in opposing sides. You know what I mean? Because each side thinks that they're right,
Oh,
right? But
yeah.
it's,
Each
yeah.
side thinks they're right. And it was so beautifully done because nobody was accusing anybody of anything. You know, it was actual, and like you said, the animation was really great for it because it allowed the dream sequences, what she thought it would look like, all of these things, and a lot of people have family members or
Mm.
friends or ex-friends or any of those things that are, you know, on a different side that you're on right now. And it's a very difficult conversation. And I'm telling you, I
Yes.
don't even know how to have that conversation. I have no idea how to have that conversation. And I love the fact that Gloria Calderon Kellett and Mike Royce, that's so brilliant. And they know how to have those kind of conversations. Unfortunately, I go like, ah, I don't know what else to say. Jesus, I can't tolerate intolerance, you know, but it's so important that we talk to each other, because that's part of the reason that we're all here. Nobody's talking to each other. But like I just said, I don't even know how to do it. And I have to be honest, I really don't know how to, when they're so far to the other side. I'm confused about it. So that's a great episode to watch if you want to learn how to, or try to see, get a tip on how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I did want to ask you finally, you know, the Emmy nominations came out a couple of weeks ago. And of course, there's been this really important discussion about the lack of, like yourself, the lack of Latina and Latinx performers in major categories. I mean, what has been your feeling? I mean, you've been in the business. I mean, is it sort of like, oh, not again? Not again.
It is, but now it's different. It's not again, but I think for a long time, people were just conditioned to think that that's just the way that it was, just like you are in life, you know, like if you're of a certain generation. And then I think you have to realize, no, this is not right. This is crazy. It doesn't make any sense. Erasure of what we do, of what we represent and the stories that we tell. I'm just interested in moving the needle forward for all Latinos, Afro Latinos, Indigenous Latinos, you know, transgender Latinos, every single one of us. I just want to move that needle forward. And I want to start having conversations about that. I don't want to sit on another panel and talk about how there's not this and there's not that. That doesn't do anything. I want to see, we need solid solutions. And you know what? They need to start asking the studio heads these questions and the network heads these questions. They need to start getting them in the room with people of color so that they're held accountable too. Because constantly, you know, people slip up, people make mistakes. Sometimes they don't say the right thing, and all of a sudden they're vilified. And yet the real problem is the people doing the hiring.
Yes.
So we need to start having that conversation.
I'm ready to have it. I'm ready to have that conversation.
And so am I. And every Latinx person and a woman of color and Black woman, brown, we all need to start having those conversations and just not sitting there, not comparing. That gets people in trouble. That's also dumb. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, let's move it forward.
Right. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me, Justina.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure, Rebecca.
Thank you. I'll have to have you back when the next season, the rest of the season of One Day at a Time. I'm hooked. I can't wait for the other episodes.
I'll be here. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
The pain that you're feeling, channel it, put it into your song. That's what an artist does. And you're an artist.
Take me, I'm ready. Go slow, but go slow.
You do so much for other people. Let us help you.
I don't need it.
What is so bad about needing help? You expect the rest of us to watch you go down the drain, and that is not fair.
Not fair?
Amber, you are suffering and you won't admit it.
Just leave me alone.
Hey, Rhenzy.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining the Spectrum Lounge. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while because I'm a huge fan of. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Runaways. I have to catch up on season 3 though.
Okay. Yeah, there's some big bombshell season 3.
Oh shoot.
Good,
okay.
I'm glad.
Good. So how have you been holding up during this pandemic? Like, have you been like doing any new activities, finding any new,
I guess I've been trying. Yeah, I've been trying to stay somewhat busy, to have some sort of routine. Acting being stripped away from me in a way is very tough because I love to do it. It's one of my passions. But I've sort of taken up working out a little bit. I didn't used to before, but my roommate I moved in with in March, he's like big into it. And so
Okay.
I just sort of follow everything he does. I'm like, as long as if I just do it, I know that if he goes to work out, I can go work out. If he eats this, I'll eat this. As long as I just do what he does, I should be fine. And it
Uh-huh.
makes it a little easier for me. And I've been
Yeah.
doing pretty well. I've been doing eating wise and stuff. I've been doing all right.
Oh, that's good. So have you been like, do you find that you have more energy, like sleeping better? Have you seen a difference?
Sleeping's tough for me. I need to work on my sleeping schedule. I'm like a nocturnal animal. It's not good. I'm up
Yeah.
way too late at night. But in terms of everything else, I do feel better. Yeah, I feel a little more energetic. I feel after I'm done with the workout, I don't feel so. When I'm stuck in the house all day and I don't have much to do, it gets to feeling like, I don't know, like I'm wasting like my life away. So I'm wasting my youth. And so I like to do something and be a little more active. After I'm done, I feel better. But going to start is just as tough. It's tough.
Gotcha. In the same way. So let's talk about All Together now. And your character, Ty. Can you tell us a little bit about the movie and about your character?
Yeah. The movie follows this girl who's going through like pretty tough challenges, but she's incredibly optimistic, almost at a fault, and it's her sort of learning that there's a community around her that love her and support her and care for her, and we just sort of follow her journey on this. And Ty is this really sweet, kind of shy kid who loves Amber. That's the way that I sort of played it, is that he genuinely loves this person, and not necessarily like boyfriend girlfriend thing, but more like he loves the human being that Amber is. She thinks she's amazing and so kind, and so he does what he can in order to help her, in order to be there for her, in these tough times for her. But it's this beautiful story about this chosen family that you have, and that there's going to be dark times, and that happens in life, and it's going to be challenging, but that you have to have hope. You have to keep pushing forward.
Yeah. The funny thing is, like, when I wasn't familiar with the book, but when I heard about the movie, like, I walked in expecting like this fun and bubbly teen movie, and it was like, oh wait, you guys are dealing with like some serious themes, like homelessness and alcoholism and family dysfunction. Had you read the original novel in order to prepare for the role?
I thought about it. I didn't. I asked the director of the movie, should I read the book in order to gain like a little bit extra info on the character? And he said that in the book, Ty doesn't have a really big part. He's really pretty minimal, and so that they expanded that for the movie. And so he said, you're not really going to find much in the book, but there was one quote that said, Amber describes Ty as the Michelangelo of teens, and that to me kind of inspired a lot of the way that someone views someone is super important, right? And so the fact that she sees him as this amazing, almost mystical, like such a nice guy, that sort of gave me a lot of insight into that he's a genuinely good-hearted person who wants the best. Sometimes he may go about it the wrong way, but I think all in all, you can see that he's good-hearted.
Right. So after shooting, I mean, coming from a television series like The Runaways for 3 seasons, what were some of the challenges or the advantages or challenges you saw in shooting a feature film versus doing serialized television?
Right. A big thing that I realized was you get a lot more time. We're shooting 12 hours a day on the TV show, 13, 14, and we're trying to cram in maybe 9-10 pages a day of dialogue and stuff, which maybe sounds like it's not that much, but it really does take a lot of time. Whereas on the film, you get so much more time to do so much more. You get to find this on Runaways. You kind of have to show up, and you're gonna have your takes. It's not like it's a one take situation, but you get a lot more time. You get a lot more. We only have an hour and a half with the movie, so every scene needs to be perfect, Right. And the TV show, you have over 10 plus hours in a season. So we got to get them done so that we have a show to show to people. And so I just think that there's more time to every minute of the movie. There's more time given to everyone on set.
Right. So your co-lead is Ali Cravalho, who plays Amber. What was it like working with her?
Oh, she's amazing. It was the best. I'd say the best part about it was that were the only ones in Portland, the only actors for the whole run of the movie. We were there for like a month and a half, 2 months almost. And so every day after we'd finished shooting, we didn't have much to do. So we got to explore, the city. And she is an incredible singer. She has a song in this movie, which is a beautiful, beautiful song. Keegan DeWitt wrote it, one of our music guys. And I most of the time I would get her to come over like to the apartment I was staying at, or I'd go over to hers, and we'd just like, I'd say I play a little bit of guitar. I'd play some guitar. She would sing. We just had like have a few hours of just like getting to hang out, and like when she can sing the way she does, it's impressive all the time. And so
right.
I love getting to work with her. She's amazing.
Yeah. So I know there's one scene in the movie where your character Ty takes Amber away to his parents' vacation house, and it's this amazing house. Did you guys actually shoot in there, or was that a recreated set?
No, gorgeous. Not a set at all. We got to that was like our first week of shooting. Actually, we got to go out to the lake house, and yeah, it was beautiful. During the day, during the night, it was amazing. The house was beautiful. I took many naps in those rooms during shooting, after. So it was gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah, and Carol Burnett is part of the cast. Did you get to meet her?
I did briefly. I wasn't on set any of the times that she was, so it was like high and by. But I've heard the most amazing things about Carol. Yeah, she's so sweet and kind. Ali was talking about it a second ago, where she's just amazing. And then of course I saw the movie, and the job she did in the film I think is fantastic. So I would have loved to have gotten to share some scenes myself, selfishly, but it was it was awesome just to have her be a part of the film.
This one of the themes that really, because I feel like when I watch this movie altogether, like it feels like now in these times, this movie is so timely. And one of the themes is, with Amber, she's so used to being independent and helping other people. And one of her challenges is being able to accept help. And there's a line that your character says that I really loved, where he says to her, think of it as a gift, that you're giving us the gift of being able to help you. Were there any times in your life where you felt like you were afraid to ask for help, but then there was maybe like a guardian angel, or, someone who just kind of stepped up and was like, it's okay for you to ask for help?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure. I think I don't think I have as hard of a time as Amber, but I do have a difficult time asking, because it's a very vulnerable thing to do, to have to ask people for help and stuff. And so I think one of the messages of the movie that I think is beautiful is the fact that, choose your circle, if your chosen family, people who love you, people that you love, and trust them a little bit more, give them, open up and realize that they're going to help you, people who genuinely care about you, they'll be there for you more times than not. And so it is difficult. It's a difficult thing to do, and it has happened to me. But I think people who know me very well, they're able to sort of get it out. Even if I don't maybe want to open up in that way, and I don't want to talk about a certain thing, they're able to say, like, talk to me, sit down. And it takes a little bit of coaxing sometimes. It's not easy, but when you do, you do feel a lot better,
Yeah. And the other thing that I really loved about All Together Now is that it's such a wonderfully inclusive cast. You have, 3 Latino leads, like you and Judy Reyes and Justina Machado, and then Ali Cravalho being from Hawaii, and also having Anthony Jacks, who is on the spectrum. He's autistic, and also another character is in a wheelchair. Do you feel like in your career, like going forward, like these are the type of because also in Runaways, it was a wonderfully diverse and inclusive cast too.
Yeah.
Is that something that you look for specifically when you're choosing roles?
I think it's something that's incredibly important, for sure. I would say I love that our film did that. That's something that I'm pretty proud of when you look back at it. And it's not centered. I like that it's not centered around. It's not a movie about the fact that we have a friend who's in a wheelchair and we have to help. It's not. The film's not about that. The film is about these teenagers and this chosen family and this great group of kids, and they just so happen to look like and be like a lot of the people in our world. And it doesn't hit you over the head with it. It doesn't try to be too preachy. It's just it's a week, a 2 week, 3 weeks in the life of these of these teenagers, and that's something beautiful to me. It's like beautifully understated. but at the same time, it's not. It's such a highlight for me of the film.
Right. Well, you are, I found out that you are from the Bronx, or you grew up in the Bronx and you're Dominican. I'm also Dominican. My Spanish is not that good too. Well,
No,
half
yeah, I feel that.
Haitian and half Dominican. So I mean, there's been this discussion. The Emmy nominations came out a couple of weeks ago, and particularly with the community of the Latino actors, it's sort of like yet again, no Latino actors were nominated for any major roles or any shows that were centering Latino characters. And I just wanted to know, like, since you've been in the business, like, what has been your experience as someone who is Latino, and specifically someone who is Afro-Latino, what the casting process has been like for you, or how you feel that you're perceived when you walk into those casting rooms?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, that's an interesting question. I feel like I've lost some parts too. I read scripts, and when you read them, you almost know what they're looking for in the script. You can tell. It's almost a foregone conclusion they're looking for someone white. It's not even like a question, not in the way that the character is necessarily, but it's like, I don't know, maybe it's a bias that I have, because I've seen so many movies that always center white love interest and these characters. But generally, I don't think it is. I think they are writing it for white people. Sometimes you have to go in and give your own interpretation of it, and hopefully things are getting much more inclusive these days than they were 2-3 decades ago. And so maybe you can change some people's minds, like, oh, maybe we don't need to have the good looking whatever be the white guy, and then that stuff to me is super important, that people just keep an open mind, and they're making an effort, especially Brett in this movie was making an effort to make it diverse, and that's important to me. The people who are in charge, people who are in power, who can make those decisions, as long as it gets into the politics of it and the bigger and the studios and things like that. But for the most part, these directors have visions, and they can push what they want to the forefront a lot of the time. And sometimes they can't, but it's nice when they sort of use their voice to champion and to help people who, a lot of the roles are written, like I said, for white people, and then they sort of make it available and an opportunity for people, for people of color.
Right. And also having an Afro-Latino identity, do you feel that sometimes it's easier to get a role as a Black man, as a Black character, as opposed to a Latino character?
For sure. Yeah. I don't know if I've ever gotten a specifically Latino character. Even when I get sent out, it feels almost pointless, because I'm like, when they look for Latino, they're not necessarily looking for someone who looks like me, and who's Afro-Latino, which is, but at the same time, it's, these are identities that still live within me. And so I feel there's times where I've struggled with it, to be honest, in terms of like, where do I fit in, and I think it's getting easier because more people are talking about it. I didn't even know what Afro-Latino was until maybe a year and a half ago, maybe even less. So for a while there, you do feel a little bit lost, but it's the fact that we're talking about it, the fact that there's a lot of conversation on it does help someone like me who's young and doesn't really know sometimes where they fit in life. Because a lot of times I grew up in a Latino household with 2 Dominican parents, and Dominican. That's all I knew. And then I get to school and everyone's like, oh, you look black, you're black, you look black. And I didn't understand that you could be both. That wasn't a thing to me. So I was always struggling, am I Black? Am I Dominican? And then over time, you sort of, with conversation, it just takes education. And that's the thing that a lot of people lack sometimes. And what I did as well, which made me feel a little bit lost. But in learning about it, it sort of, it allows me to settle in a little bit more and not feel so scattered.
So are there any directors or actors and actresses that you would want to work with, like if you had a wish list?
Oh man, so many. It's a huge list. I'm a big fan of directors who I want to be the kind of actor that I see myself being, is being a part of something that's bigger than just the actor, a part of the film, like a Christopher Nolan movie. He makes these huge epics That's more than just about Matthew McConaughey being in Interstellar. It's more than just Leonardo DiCaprio being in Inception. There's a real story being told. There's a uniqueness to the way that they're telling the story. It's not about Christian Bale being Batman. It's about this guy who's trying to fight the Batman story, but it's more than just Heath Ledger. It's more than just Batman. It's this beautiful. The storytelling is my favorite thing. I'm really passionate about it, and so Christopher Nolan. I mean, I would love to work with Tarantino. He makes some of my favorite movies. But this is everyone's like wish list for these guys, and so there's nothing unique about it that I'm saying. But yeah, it's a long list. We could be here all day talking about directors I'd want to work with.
Okay, well, those are all the questions I have. Thank you so much, Rhenzy, and congratulations on the new movie. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Bye.